Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for being with us today. I must say, first of all, that I really have to share my appreciation to you all. There are many journalists who just copy-paste news they get by email, but the times that you took to spend so many hours to listen to experts show how professional you are and how much efforts you are ready to do in order to be able to report the most accurate information. I founded EIPA, Europe-Israel Press Association, some 10 years ago, and I would like to explain to you why I have done so. There are different kinds of hatreds. There are people who hate wealthy people, and they can explain why they hate wealthy people. There are those who hate politicians, and they could maybe explain to you why they hate politicians. Those people who hate Jews, it's very difficult to explain why they hate Jews. Because Jews are hated for thousands of years for so many different reasons, but contradiction reasons. Jews were hated because they were rich, because they were poor, because they were capitalists, because they were communists, because they were integrated, because they were not integrated, for very different reasons. And what happened in Europe for the last decades is that Europeans understood, and the world understood, that anti-Semitism, it is a very ugly thing, that it is hatred that led to catastrophe. And therefore, it was changed. And those anti-Semites understood that if they would like to express hatred against Jewish people, they have to find something that they will be able to explain. And that's what Israel. And Israel became a reason, an excuse for a new level, a new wave of hatred in Europe against the Jewish people. And what I saw in Europe, being here for over 20 years, that the level of anti-Semitism in Europe continued to break its record every single year. And many, many times it was because officially of the conflict in the Middle East. And being a person that was born in Israel, and I know Israel a bit, but I'm living in Europe for the last 20 years, I saw the gap between the truth and between what is reported on European media. But I also saw how every time Israel is mentioned in the European media, not necessarily in the most honest way, it's made the anti-Semitism in Europe to be even much more terrible. And many people lost their lives, and of course, their comfort in life, because of the way media reported different things that happened in Israel. And that was the reason, that was the time that we realized that if we would like to improve a bit or to reduce the level of hatred in Europe, at least we have to remove these excuses of using Israel to be a reason to hate Jewish people. We did not need to convince anyone. The only thing we had to do is to invite journalists to Israel, to invite journalists to speak with experts, and to speak with non-official Israelis, but to really understand what is really going on in Israel. And we, the Jews, or maybe the Israelis, or both, maybe Israel is a very young country, less than 80 years old. But the Jewish people are not very young. We do have thousands of years of experience. And what we know is that hatred is hatred is hatred. Those who hate Jews could easily hate others. Those who hate Jews because the Jews represent modern, because Jews represent Western values, maybe hate now the Jews, but later they will hate anyone else who will be representing the same values. And what we see in Europe today is not just hatred against Jewish people. We see a wave of hatred against European values. And this is dangerous not only for the Jewish people, but it is dangerous to all of us. What we also saw in the last couple of months, and that I believe is important for you all to acknowledge, all those massive demonstrations against the Jewish people, officially against the state of Israel, are part of a huge campaign which aimed to normalize the anti-Semitism. If until 10 years ago and 15 years ago, calling to kill Jews was unacceptable, just a couple of weeks ago, a very important journalist in Belgium wrote that every time you see pictures from Gaza, you want to stab every single Jew you see on the street. This is clear anti-Semitism that started because of incitements against the state of Israel. And for this reason, we all have to understand that what we see in front of our eyes is normalization of anti-Semitism. And if the media, if the population will not understand it, then we will see in a democratic way how more and more people who are manipulated by those actions will become part of those who vote for politicians who will share the same values. And in a very democratic way, Europe could become a very dangerous place, not only for Jews, but for anyone who represents those European values. This is the reason why we started EIPA. This is the reason why we try to explain what I just said. This is the reason why we take with us members of parliaments and officials to Auschwitz every single year, because we like people to understand what hatred could lead people to do. So I really hope that the Europe we will see, all of us, will be the Europe that we all would like to live in. Not only a democratic place, but still a European continent with European values, with Western values, a place where everyone could live his own life without being threatened, without being in danger. And I believe that we, again, the Jewish people, may be in the front line of those that are the first to be targeted, but that actually represents what is actually going on in Europe. So I do believe that what we do is important not only for the Jewish people, not only for the state of Israel, but for all the European people who would like to see Europe to remain a European, a Western continent. I thank you again for being here with us today. I thank you for, again, taking the time to learn more about the Middle East, to learn more about the conflict, to learn more about the threat. And I wish you that all the people who will be reading everything you are publishing will get the right information and will be full with feeling of hope for a much better future for all of us. Thank you very much.